Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to do some predictions. And why I'm wearing this turtleneck is a story for another video about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But I felt like just recording this and looking studious in the process. So that's kind of what we're doing. No, these are not prescription. These are just regular glass that came with this, which is a wig that I wore for the other video. So here's my crazy... Whatever, that's not the point of this. You didn't come here to learn why I'm wearing this stupid shit. You're here for predictions of Dexter Resurrection. And I'm here to give you those predictions. I'm here to hand you the sauce. You know what I mean? So yeah. Dexter Resurrection was a season of TV that, as you guys know at this point, I sound like a broken record, was my favorite season of Dexter and one of my favorite seasons of the entire world of TV overall. I loved this season. And it has me thinking about all the things that they can do going forward. So that's what we want to talk about in this video, okay? So this season left a lot on the table, but it also took a lot off on the kill table.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, that was a knee slapper. You don't see my knee down there. I'm feeling very ADHD today, if you couldn't tell. So this season of Dexter was really solid because it had a lot of good plot points. It had Batista, it had Leon, it had Harrison and all of that. And it needed to have that pace high and the stakes high to get us in the place where we're going. And now that Dexter is seemingly back and this is rebooted in a way where he could go out and do whatever he wants to do, this is going to set up something really interesting, wherein at the end we saw that he took a lot of Prater's files. We at least saw he took 5, and we know that he left quite a bit of them behind in Prater's mansion, one of them being the New York Ripper file, which we understand Claudette found and is now aware of. The name is Don Frampt. To this day, I still don't exactly know who Don Frampt is. I heard someone in my comments earlier today saying that they puzzled the pieces together and it was actually the guy that Charlie hired to kill Mia in the cell. I'm not sure if there's any validity to that. I think this is all speculation right now. I think they're saving that reveal for the next season. And what I would like to see as far as that prediction goes is the New York Ripper is a character who is played by an actor that has the same sort of bravado as Peter Dinklage or Kristen Ritter or Neil Patrick Harris, Eric Stonestreet, David Dastmalchian. You know what I mean? I want someone like that. A lot of people online have been saying they want that to be Bryan Cranston. And let me tell you, I would fucking love that to be Bryan Cranston. That would be the best thing that the show ever did. I'd be obsessed with that as an idea because Bryan Cranston as a villain is something we haven't seen since Breaking Bad. And this show, Dexter in general, the universe, is in a similar tier of TV as Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Yeah, like... I would argue that Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad probably are a little bit better in the writing department and things like that. Actually, not a little bit, a lot better in the writing department. But they are both monumental big shows that have a big, wide, broad audience where everyone loves it. Similar thing. And to see him return as a villain, specifically the New York Ripper, would be so good to see. And I feel like just having him in the Dexter franchise in general would be so great. I'm not going to hold to that because obviously this is just fans talking and there is no real truth to this at the very moment, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be. This would certainly be really, really interesting to see, and I'd be very excited about that. So Dexter Resurrection is one that I think can bring in these characters and do it in a way that feels natural and doesn't make you think these actors are being that's Walter White, or oh, that's Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones and Peter Dinklage. You know what I mean? They bring in good actors that feel really believable and compelling at the roles they are. I think Bryan Cranston would be a very natural addition to the show in a way that made it fun, made it enjoyable to watch. So as far as the New York Ripper, I think that is where that's going to go. But ultimately, I do think the New York Ripper is more of a way for Dexter to get on the, not on a good side, but distract Claudette from him, because this is Claudette's white whale. Obviously, Oliva doesn't feel the same way, but this is Claudette's big case that she wants to solve, just like how Batista had the Bay Harbor Butcher and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what we're going to see. I do think we're going to get some. I don't think there's any way in hell they spent so much time talking about the Ripper for it not to come up in some way. And I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I just hope they do it justice with a good actor. That being said, where I think they are going to go is more of a return to form, honestly, for Dexter. It's just going to be like a new Dexter show, not like a spinoff or anything like that. It's going to be like Dexter just continued, except now he's in New York. Now he has these files from Prater. Now, seemingly, he has a boat. I still, to this day, I'm struggling to understand how they're going to write that off. But I think that is going to be a big focus, is Dexter just living his life with Harrison developing as a person in his career, especially and potentially as a police officer or in forensics at the college, maybe still fucking Gigi, which I hope we don't get a lot of. I'm done with the eating out Gigi scenes. I don't need any more of that. I'm good. If I wanted to watch that, never mind. I'm just saying, if I wanted to watch that, I'd watch something else instead of watching Dexter. That's not what I come to watch Dexter for. You know what I mean? Whatever. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I think they're going to go in an area of development of that storyline more, while Dexter is taking out a lot of those people. Big Al is definitely going to be a thing. I would love to see that we pick up where Big Al actually ended up killing Elsa, and he becomes kind of more of an existential threat that we have to take out pretty early on. And now that we know Dexter has a file on Big Al, I guess you call him, did they call him Big Al? Al, whatever. I think that leaves a lot there for him, but it also leaves a lot for the other killers. So I think that'll be an A plot. The further development of Harrison will be another B plot. And then I do think a C plot will be relating to all of the evidence that Dexter left behind in the Prater, or whatever you call it, the vault, I guess you would call it. I think there was so much there, and Dexter left just so much evidence, whether it was little fingerprints he might have missed, the kill room itself and how he did that, him touching Batista in general and having his hands on them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they look into that further. The Bay Harbor Butcher blood slides box being missing, which is interesting. But then again, the only thing about that is, like, this is these people's first time seeing the room. They don't necessarily know that a blood slide was there, because the blood slide, if you guys don't recall, the only reason I remember this is because I just watched some clips from season 7, is that was never submitted into evidence. So the blood slides are not really known to the public. So I do think that leaves a potential way for Dexter to get away with it. But I do think Claudette and Oliva are kind of our next Miami Metro here to stay. And I was skeptical about that in the beginning when I was watching the show, because I didn't really like the way Claudette was. I didn't really like the way Oliva was. But having sat with it and having seen where it went and having seen the humor that they could give us, I actually think there is stuff they could do there. I've seen some theories online of people saying it would be pretty cool if Claudette hired Dexter as a blood spatter analyst on the team, but I think that could easily be debunked by Gigi saying that in modern times, blood spatter is kind of frowned upon in forensics. So I don't think we're going to see that, but I think it would be an interesting possibility if Claudette kind of poached Dexter for helping her with the New York Ripper stuff. And I think maybe that is something we'll see. And if it is, I could see people saying that it's just doing the same thing over and over again, but I don't care, because that's the Dexter I like, and it's in a setting I like just as much as Miami, so I'm personally okay with that. And overall, I think we're going to get a slightly more tame season, which I don't think at all is a bad thing. I just think in the eyes of the community, it's most likely not going to shine a light to season 1. I think season 1 was a near perfect season of TV. I think it was just absolutely freaking amazing. I couldn't get the word out that I was going to say. I almost made up a new word just to say that. Like, I don't know, I was going to make up a new word like Corfelson or something. You know what I mean? Just to say whatever. The point I'm making is this was lightning struck in a bottle this season. Now, going forward, can they keep that momentum? Well, I do think Clyde Phillips is capable of keeping good momentum. But I think, again, this was just such a lightning in a bottle season that may be hard to capture that same magic again. So we might see a bit slower of a season, and I'm personally okay with that. I'm just a little bit more skeptical of what they're going to do with the Miami Metro side of things. Because now that Batista's dead, my interest in the Bay Harbor Butcher manhunt is kind of over, because Quinn already knows about Dexter in some way, shape, or form, and I definitely don't want Masuka to do the manhunt. So I think as far as that goes, what we're probably going to see is we're probably going to see a memorial for Batista. We're probably going to pick up slightly where that left off and see Quinn make his way to New York to meet with Claudette and the team to see why he was around here and what happened. And it'll make him aware of Dexter Morgan being alive. So I think we'll see a little bit of that. I just don't think it's going to hit the same way. And frankly, I'm okay with that because if they don't relive a Manhunt season again, I'm fine because I think I've got my satisfaction at this point in time with the whole Manhunt story. I've talked about that thoroughly in my episode 9, 10, and season review of Dexter Resurrection, so I'm not going to rehash that here. But as far as Miami Metro is concerned, I definitely think we're going to see Quinn, and I think we'll probably see Masuka again in the mix as well. And there's no way we've just written off Miami Metro. That's not the end of it, but I'm okay if it's not the entire thing. So yeah, those are my overall predictions for what they're going to do with Dexter Resurrection Season 2. Either way, I can't wait for this show at all. So I'm curious what you guys think is going to happen next season. I'd love to hear from you down there. And with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. If you want to follow me on X, it's Jerry's_takes, and on Instagram, it's Jerry's.takes. Don't ask me why there's a difference, but until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.